Alright, so since it was requested, I thought I'd show off the Toy-Con piano that I have and maybe eventually some of the other stuff further down the line as I work on it. But yeah, first here is the switch on which the stuff will be based. I'm gonna play it. Piano. Now for the setup of it. So this is the piano. Made out of cardboard. Now, in order to be able to actually play it as a piano, what we are going to have to do is, as it shows on the screen, I have to take off the right Joy-Con, and I'm going to be attaching it in the back. So, first, just going to pop that right off. And so the screen can fit into the slot in the piano. I'm going to remove the red Joy-Con. Okay, so this is just going to go off on the side for now. Oh boy, it's picking up interference. Alright, so what has to happen is this goes into this little slot here. You can see that the infrared camera that's on the bottom is already active. And to have it perform as desired, we have to put it right in here. Now it's nice and silent. Now we turn this back around so that it is facing us. Slide the screen into place. Now we can play. Might put the volume a little bit on that. Now, how this works is the infrared camera, like I said. So, what is happening is the controller is sending out infrared rays, and it is picking up stickers on the back of these keys. And when it sees that those stickers, it sets out the corresponding note. I can show you how it looks. Just gotta undo this latch here. I'm gonna remove this button for good measure so that I do not lose it. Open it up. And look, no strings inside. So you can see how there's this spot where there is the controller. It's shooting out the rays here, and you can kind of see from this angle the little stickers. Let's see if I can put that down in there. So this is kind of what it looks like for the camera. And you can kind of see the little bit of the white reflective strip as it comes up from the keys popping into range. And there's a few other features that are on here that can be seen. Like there's a few things though, they're not as easy to show here. There is this little bar that puts things up and down an octave. And this thing functions basically by being held in place by a rubber band, and it snaps back into place when you release your thumb. And there's actually kind of a little mode that shows how this works a little bit easier. So if we just move over to this Discover section and hit piano, just give it a moment to load. Now, normally these little sections are just like little skits that, you know, are there to basically trick the kids into being educated, but I have this little kind of demo thing that shows how it looks right away. You can kind of see here, it kind of shows what it's like for the infrared thing on the controller to be sending out the waves, and how it looks like from its perspective here. And then this is how it kind of looks from our direction. So, from, you know, going from left to right, you can see on the right hand side of the screen, you can see those white dots popping up. That indicates that that little particular section is being detected by the infrared sensor in the controller. And we can see that a few other spots could be detected. Oh gosh, I hope I didn't break that. Yeah. Yeah, there it goes. Much better. And so besides these things, and you can also see the little spot where there's the little whammy bar. This spot at the top, this circle here, can be used to activate different modes. And how it activates things differently, how the camera can tell if it's supposed to be different, is the part of the kit for the piano includes being able to make these kind of little knobs. And depending on which one they are, they have different effects. For the piano mode, they can do like basically silly little sound effects. Like knob number 1 turns all of these little dudes into cats. And if you kind of twist it, it has different effects. Adds like a little echo. Knob number 2 makes them these kind of like little vocal kind of sections. Number 3 is kind of silly in that it kind of turns them into these kind of weird dudes. It's kind of weird. And the 4th one, which is this kind of circle, instead of having a normal sound, it activates an acoustic mode. And what that does is, well, I'll show you first that I'm turning the volume all the way off, so the speakers on the screen are not making a sound. And yet, the reason it's still making sound is because while there isn't sound playing through the speakers, instead what is happening is that the system is sending basically an instruction to the little Joy-Con controllers to vibrate. And since sound's basically a vibration, that's what it does. You might have heard this one kind of off on the side. The right Joy-Con in the back is basically vibrating the cardboard. And so that means that if you really wanted, and if you found some of the things that were good for being conducive to the vibration, you could have many other things that could make a sound. Now, as for how it's able to do that, how it detects it, is you can kind of see here in this little corner of the screen, it's detecting whether or not there's a knob inside. Now, like the piano keys, it has the knobs have a reflective tape on them. Now, the tape has 2 functions. You might notice something between them all, which is that they kind of have 2 different points for the tape, which is that one is to identify what type of knob it is, and the other is to show that the knob is spinning. Like you'll notice when it comes to how it works is you have one that has a single thin piece, 2 thin pieces, a moderately thick piece, and a very thick piece to identify which one is which. And the camera basically figures out which one is which by, measuring how thick that distance is. And then it measures that there is turning by these little squares that are on the bottom. It can detect the motion, seeing that these little spots are moving either to the left or to the right. And so in that way it is able to detect how much spinning is happening to detect the settings. So overall, it's like a really cool gadget. Because while obviously there's a lot of stuff being done with like the hardware of the Switch between the screen and all the stuff that's happening with the Joy-Con controllers, because that's where the real meat of the tech is. Everything else, everything else that's being done to feed information into the infrared camera is just done with what is basically cardboard. Uh, Cardboard. There's like little bits of the reflective infrared tape and the rubber band, but that's pretty common stuff. And that's kind of part of what's neat about it is you get this kind of something that is literally part of the point is that so simple a child can do it, and it's really neat. And I look forward to building more stuff. Yeah.